this is a hard moment for us.
You should expect 2 sonic booms before they come back. And we were just really excited to see our fathers again, our family. As the clock reached 0, that was kind of when I realized like something was off. I looked around, and I remember as a child, still seeing people confused.
I ran over to my mom and grabbed her and said, "Mom, is Daddy okay?" And she looked at me and said, "I don't think so."
Outside these walls was such a huge national and a national odds.
Like we just found out this information, and now we're being bombarded with care in some ways, but also media, and like it was a lot. I felt like I grew up a lot that day.
When you're in those moments, you don't think about the outside world.
I think I cried harder than I've ever cried. My eyes were redder than I've ever seen them be red. Hi, welcome to Stories That Serve. I'm your host, Laura Husband, and we are back again sharing stories that hopefully serve you through connecting you, inspiring you, and bringing you hope. And as you listen to our stories, gain empathy along the way. I'm here again with my guest, Tal Ramon.
Hello.
He was here for episode 1. We're continuing the story that we both share. Our dads were on the Space Shuttle Columbia, and sadly, we lost our dads on the Space Shuttle February 1st, 2003. And we had just on the last episode talked about launch day, the excitement, them living their dreams. Fast forward now to 16 days later. Tal and I are in Florida at the landing strip, and there's a countdown clock. And I remember even waking up that morning, but this is a hard moment for us. We were both 12 years old, and that was a big day that both our lives changed.
Right.
Drastically.
There was a huge media coverage in Israel as well, but there was a lot of media covering the landing, and people that came to see the landing. We were on the bleachers, and there was this the big clock that was running down.
Yes.
And we were told again and again what to expect. You should expect 2 sonic booms before they come back, and around 2 minutes before, and then when they come, they kind of glide in like an airplane, and then the parachutes slow them down. They explained everything over and over again, and we were just really excited to see our fathers again, our family.
Yeah.
We missed them. 16 days for 12-year-olds.
Yes,
that's a long time.
It is. And before that, they were in quarantine.
Quarantine.
So
as
it
well.
had been maybe close to a month or 3 weeks we hadn't seen our dads.
Because it was tough.
Yeah, at that age, even when they were training, we would see them mostly every day at the end of the workday. So we were used to seeing our dads and being close to them. And I remember that morning, even waking up on landing day, there was some fog. We're, at Cape Canaveral in Florida on the beach, and we were like, hopefully the fog lifts. And I remember it did at some point, and saw a sunrise, which is very rare because I'm not normally a morning person. I don't think you are either.
No. We share that.
I remember that.
We share that.
So it was one of the few sunrises in my life I had seen. Wow. And my mom, without really knowing what she was saying, said, "This is a sunrise you'll never forget." Oh, wow. Which I know. I don't know if I ever told you that. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So she said that, and then I watched, I mentioned before my dad gave me these devotional tapes to watch while he was in space for every day. And so I watched that last one that morning, and he's like, "Excited to see you soon. Wow, yeah. As long as the weather's good, we'll be here." And so, we head to the landing strip, and
yeah, it was, I remember we counted the days. I remember emailing with my father and be like, it's so close, almost there, and we wanted them to have, the best time with them, to have as much time and space and to enjoy their time up there. But we did want them back,
Yeah.
to for ourselves,
Yes.
for selfish reasons.
Well, yeah, we missed them,
Yeah.
and we're ready to share in that experience with
And so
them.
all the families are, grouped together again, and we are waiting for the landing.
Yeah, and we'd all gotten close because I remember us like hanging out, playing, like getting hot chocolate. It was kind of cold, I think, because I
Mhm.
remember I had a jacket, and yeah, we mission controls is on the speakers in the background, but I'm 12 and not listening to that.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you were, but I wasn't really listening to what was going on. Just
Yeah.
looking at the countdown
And
clock.
just the countdown is, it's nerve-wracking. Just the countdown. It's like, oh
Right.
my God, it's any minute now.
Yeah.
It's getting closer. It's getting
Anticipation.
closer and closer and closer. And slowly we understood that something wasn't going as planned.
Yeah. What was that? I want us both to share kind of that realization moment for us.
Yeah.
Like when did it hit you that this was not going the way you thought it was?
I think, well, at first I was kind of asking myself questions. Oh, they explained what was supposed to be happening, so there was 2 sonic booms that were supposed to be at around 2 minutes in, I think, before.
Yeah, they hit the sound barrier or break the sound barrier right before they get back. So
Right.
that's kind of a cue they're almost back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when that didn't happen, I was kind of like, okay, maybe they're a little delayed. And then as the clock reached 0, that was kind of when I realized like something was off. I looked around, and I remember as a child, still seeing people confused. Everybody was very confused. Nobody had any answers,
Yeah. I had a similar thought. I thought they were delayed. I was like, oh, maybe they're late. As a kid, I'm not thinking about NASA being pretty precise on their time normally. But I was like, maybe they're late. And so we don't hear the sonic boom. I think my mom went over to Steve Lindsay, an astronaut with us, and was like, when are we supposed to hear the sonic boom? And she shares, he held up a finger to her, like, hold on. And he was on a call. And I went over, well, yeah, the clock, it's counted down. And then all of a sudden it's at 0.
And it's going up again.
Yeah, I think we all started counting down with it.
Yeah.
And then, it counts up positive numbers. I feel like, I was 12, so do I remember this all clearly or not? But I feel like I even remember your mom saying something like, okay, like something like, like, where is it, And it just, I ran over to my mom and grabbed her and said, Mom, is Daddy okay? And she looked at me and said, I don't think so. And
wow. Yeah.
That was the stomach drop moment for me.
Yeah, for me, I was, I think once people realized that something was wrong, you kind of make up all these stories in your mind. Okay, no, they just went for a lap around. You kind of like make up all these different kind of outcomes, because you don't want to believe that the worst had happened. And then we were taken from the bleachers, from everybody, from the media.
I remember already as we were being put in cars, they were like, get the Columbia families out of here.
Yeah.
People were trying to film us getting into cars, and we didn't know exactly what was going on either. We knew something was wrong, but we didn't have information yet.
Yeah.
So we were confused about what we were going to hear too at that point.
They brought us into a conference room, and we waited there just for a second, and then you want to tell the rest?
Bob Cabana, another astronaut, I think he was head of safety for the astronaut office. Someone can fact check that. We're here to share our personal. I'm not good at all the facts necessarily on that, but I remember him wearing a red sweater and black pants. I do remember that.
Wow, you remember what he was wearing.
And just saying, something happened with the wing, and maybe he mentioned the phone, but he was like, it broke apart and there's no hope. And I remember even someone in the room clarifying, like, what does that mean? Like, and he
Yeah.
had to like spell it out,
Yeah.
that they're gone. They're not coming back. And yeah, just so many responses to grief in the same room
Right.
because 7 people that we dearly loved, we just lost and also couldn't believe it either. So I remember hearing someone wail. I remember other people being quiet. It was just, I think I cried
Uh,
harder than I've ever cried. My
yeah.
eyes were redder than I've ever seen them be red.
Yeah, we were first we were together, all the
Yeah.
families, and then we were kind of like we were very kind of like it was crazy now thinking about it. We were inside this room together dealing with all that information together,
Yeah.
and the outside world was just, we did not know what was happening,
Mm-mm.
but everybody remembers this day.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever was alive back then
Mm-hmm. True.
remembers the day, and how they all remember how they heard about it and where they heard about it and how they felt, what they were wearing,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
And these moments, they stick with you,
Mm-hmm.
not just for us, for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it was, um, as we were going through such a personal loss, outside these walls
Mm-hmm.
was such a huge national and a national loss,
Yeah.
something.
I
We
don't
all
think,
lost heroes, 7
yeah.
heroes.
I don't think my mind was even aware until later,
Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
was saying.
we were very insulated. And also, I think time just went so weird that day because they took us back to crew quarters where the crew had stayed before launch. And I don't know if you thought about this before, I have. They sleep shifted them for their flight. So
Right.
there's no windows. So I
Mhm.
feel like it just made the day even longer because we had
Right.
no concept of time. We're in this building with no windows. And it just felt like the longest day ever.
Yeah.
And
And they had to bring us back to Houston, back to our
yeah,
home. By the
yeah.
end of the day, it just,
I,
you
re-
realize that we're just leaving without,
I know.
you know,
Yeah.
without having them come back. And it was, it was a very hard time.
I remember group hugs with you and your brother in the hallway too, because for a while we just all stayed there and we're letting out our grief in whatever way we felt comfortable doing that. And also, you could say we were letting out our grief. We were processing the information. I think I was in shock for a whole year. So,
Yeah.
you can take that as you will.
As a child, I
Yeah.
mean, we were 12. My brother was 9, and my sister, she was 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Matthew was 7. Yeah. My brother.
Yeah. My older brother was 14.
Wow. I thought he was older in my mind.
Mhm.
Just because he was such a big brother, I think, to all of us, really, in that moment, too. He
Yeah.
gave really good hugs.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, but we did not realize it fully, and we kind of just like at a certain point we're taken home.
yeah. Yeah. I remember we flew back to Houston. It, for a moment, started hitting me what you were talking about, the world, or, people are reacting along with us because police escorted us home. All of a sudden on our street there's like yellow ribbons on trees, there's flowers, people trying to show up, press trying to show up. I'm sure you had a similar experience where it's just all of a sudden, hold on, what, like, we just found out this information
Yeah,
and
it's
now we're
all
being
over.
bombarded with care in some ways, but also media, and like, it was a lot to take in. And as a 12-year-old, I think you felt the same, but I want you to share. I felt like I grew up a lot that day, and I felt a lot older than I really was. Like, I look at 12-year-olds now and I'm like, oh, wow. I I was that looks like a young kid, but in my mind I felt so much more grown up because of just everything that got piled in that moment of our grief and just processing that.
Yeah. It was, you know, when you're in those moments, you don't think about the outside world.
No.
But those like little glimpses of how big this disaster was for everybody.
Yeah.
And the following weeks was, all about the recovery of all the different pieces, that were
Yes.
scattered on the earth, and trying to. We didn't have any answers, after all, this this had happened, this disaster happened, and nobody had any answers.
Yeah.
Of course, they were checking everything, but first there was the recovery of all the pieces to kind of piece together what
What happened?
happened, because
Yeah.
connection was lost.
Right.
There was no comms at a certain point. I think your father was the last one to speak down to earth, right?
Yeah, it's like half sentence, and it like cuts off midway. And I hope, I hope their experience was, I hope it was short, if anything. But it was hard, and that was something that I felt, very close with you and the other Columbia kids, because all of a sudden, it wasn't that we just lost our parents. It was that we lost our parents in a space shuttle accident that was very public. And if you turn on the news, you got to rewatch that accident over and over again, which we
Yes.
would keep the TV off. I mean, it's just not a normal grieving experience of like someone dying in a car accident, and then, everyone understands that's a tragedy, and you treat it that way, but there's like almost a mission, and so people want to know about it and
Yeah.
keep finding out more. And like you said at the beginning, we had a lot of questions. It took a while for them to find all of them, and praise God they did. And we all had our own moments of, memorial service or funerals. But man, we started doing also a lot of ceremonies because it was connected to NASA, and we were buddies through the ceremonies. There were a lot of official things we started
Yes.
really going to. 4 days after, we were at Johnson Space Center with President Bush and Laura and whoever else, the whole media, and at that point I was just still wrapping my mind around what had happened.
Yeah. We still didn't realize. We were still waiting in our mind.
Right.
Kind of waiting for it to end.
Yeah, like a bad dream that
Yeah.
we're hopefully going to wake up from.
But I do remember how strongly everybody was connected
Yeah.
to this story, and how we met so many people after this disaster, and everybody was really eager to give their condolences
Yeah.
and show us their love, and how sorry they were. And I think that in a way made it even harder, because it always it brought it up
Reminded-
again and again,
yeah.
and then
Right.
and the questions, or certain people would say things about our fathers, and it would just bring it all up, and it's another, what I say is that I live two kind of lanes. My own personal lane with my journey, going through life without my father, and then there's the more national kind of public lane, which is, for Israel's first astronaut,
Yes. Right.
and this tragedy, and
Yes.
and everybody being a part of it. Everybody was a part of it, and everybody felt like they were a part of it, and they, thousands of children would send us drawings and classes all over, schools, and everybody. It was just overwhelming, and we were taken from place to place, kind of honoring these wonderful people. But I really felt like it was a lot to handle. Even that, just like going from place to place.
Yeah.
From, you know, we were invited after I think it was like a few months afterwards to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we all went
I forgot.
together.
And it was in Houston that year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It really that's a good way to describe it, two lanes, because it is this public lane and this private lane, like grieving your dad and me grieving mine, and then the people who appreciate what our dads did and, you know, like you said before, had their memory of the moment it happened and where they were. And so my threshold of ability to hear that comes and goes, you know, because some days I have more capacity than others to take that in, because
Right.
it is a lot. You don't always want to sit in some of that. And people with grief anyways don't always say the right thing, and then add in the national component or the international component, and people, you know a lot about things, and so they might act like they know more than they actually know, and
So you're
feel
saying
familiar.
sometimes the people weren't as comforting as they would hope.
I learned, my mom was a good role model of this, but you learn that some people share for them to you,
Yeah.
and some people share for you and care about you. Some people need to share it for themselves, and some people want to share to help you.
I think
So
that maybe we can stop here and say that if you are going through something like grief, or if your friend or someone that you know is going through grief, you take a moment before you do address it
yeah,
to kind of think of the best way to do it, and do it in a way that it's like, it's not a I don't want to use the word selfish, but do it in a way that it's like, it's not about you, it's about the
Yeah.
other person.
Yeah.
And make sure that you are very emotionally connected to what is going on and what is
and what
being
their needs
said.
are. Yeah, absolutely. And
Sometimes you don't need to say anything.
I was going to
Yeah.
exactly say that, because sometimes the best thing you can do is, you know, kind of like the title Stories That Serve. If you just serve, like I remember my mom's college roommates came. I don't remember anything they said to me, but they came and cleaned our house. And like right after everything happened.
Right.
And I felt loved by that. You know, our family felt loved by that.
Yeah.
There's things like that. I know you had support around you, people who would just kind of come in and do those background things, make sure you were fed,
yeah.
make sure you were hydrated, because grief is so odd. And then add on top of that, we had mystery around ours. You know, what happened, you know, and then 3 weeks later we, you know, had to wait because of recovery effort to have our funerals. And then we're still in shock. And then, you know, people
Do you
are
remember going
sharing.
to school? Like, do you remember going?
That was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom, I did not want to go back to school.
Yeah.
My mom was like, let's go for lunch. Let's go at lunchtime. Just see your friends before you go back a full day, you know. And so I remember going, and yeah, just your friends giving you maybe they're not, but it feels like a weird look, because you know they know what happened to you. And that it's hard seeing people have, you know, probably care, but also pity on their face sometimes, or maybe I perceived it as pity.
Pity is like feeling bad for
Yeah,
you.
just feeling bad for me.
Yeah.
And because I think even through my grief, I didn't want to be reminded of it every single moment. So if, you know, people around you are, you know, all the time, it can be hard, because sometimes with your friends, you want to just talk about, you know, something fun or random.
You just want to think about something else for a minute and just
Yeah.
kind of try to live your life as a 12-year-old child.
Right.
You know?
What's normal? That was a big question.
Yeah.
Like, what's normal now? What's the new normal?
Yeah. There was no new normal. We just kind of took it day to day, I think.
Yeah.
And we did have emotional support. We did go to therapy, both of us.
Big fan.
So
It
yeah,
helps, but also shop around till you find the right fit. I do encourage people.
also shopping is therapy for some people.
Shopping is therapy. It can be, yes, within reason.
No, everybody goes through different kind of
Yeah.
way through grief. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, my faith is pivotal, central to walking through it. I knew that day that God was going to take care of us. I didn't know how. I remember
Mm-hmm.
telling my aunt that, and I've seen God's evidence of His hand and care throughout our journey, and like all these
Mm-hmm.
questions of who's going to take care of us, even who's going to help me with math, or one day who's going to walk me down the aisle. All these questions came like the day of, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like what are we going to do? Do I need a job to help my mom? I'm 12, but like I was like, are we okay?
Yeah.
And I watched God he's filled in the blank for each answer along the way, and he's faithful in that way. And it's not easy, but I have hope thanks to having that relationship with God that's really sustained me.
Can I
And
ask you a question?
yeah,
Do you think after the Columbia disaster, did you feel like you were getting closer to God? Like you became more religious, maybe?
I wouldn't describe it
Or
as
spiritual?
religious. It's a relationship for me with Jesus. I think it deepened my relationship. So like we grew in our friendship because we walked through something so hard.
Right.
I grew in my relationship with Jesus because we walked through something so hard. All of a sudden, there's Bible verses that say God's a father to the fatherless. He binds up our wounds. He's a man of sorrows, acquainted with our grief. I was like, okay, either these are nice things to say to someone or they're true, and I really hope they are. God, show me your character. Show me in this need that I didn't have before how you're going to show up. And I feel like he showed up in those ways for me as I trusted him through it. So I think it strengthened it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it was the first episode that I talked about what my father wrote to me before he went to space, and what he wrote there is because I was playing instruments back in those days, and I would make him listen to me like playing and rehearsing all these different tunes, and he wrote for me. He wrote, "Keep playing. I'll be listening from up above." And just imagine me floating there in space listening to you. And I promised to listen. And that for me just stuck. And all of a sudden, I'm finding myself in Israel back after 7 years, 6.5, 7 years of being totally cut off from Israeli culture and friends and family and
Right.
and schooling, of course, language barriers that came up after 6.5 years of not practicing that language that much. But what saved me in my on my journey is my father's piano, and that was the connection that I made and that grew stronger after the Columbia disaster. I think my father's piano became this tool that I would kind of use for therapeutic reasons,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and I would play, and it would be like kind of like a trance, to get into a trance, which like is a kind of like a meditation. Even you listen and you're aware of your body and your breathing and how you're holding yourself, and then the music itself. That we know music has such fundamental effects
Absolutely
on
powerful.
your body, on your spirit, and that was my journey with music.
We both share a love of artistry, and I'm excited. We'll be tune into the next episode. We'll talk more about that. But as we're closing out this one, how do you think this piece of our story the major loss, having that happen at 12, how does that serve others when we share that?
When we share it, well, I hope that we can be of help to people who are going through similar loss, maybe.
Yeah.
Or people who have friends or family that have lost somebody, and or maybe people that need just to get like a little bit of strength to kind of say, well, they're here, you know, they grew up and they're you know, they're I think we're good people. Yeah. Yeah, you can make it even through the hardest of times, and you can make a positive change,
Yeah.
even going through hardship. You can take the hardship and try to make something positive out of it.
Yeah,
And
something beautiful. Beauty from ashes,
and
really.
we'll talk about it more in the next episode, which
Yeah.
it's beautiful how you know, that it's sad, but it's beautiful that, you know, their life ended, but their light shines on so bright.
100%.
And
Their legacy.
this until this day, and they're doing so much good for the world. And we'll talk about all of that in the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tal. I agree. I think this grief that we've walked through, no matter what you've been through, if you've lost someone, it connects you to other people. You have an understanding. It's not a club necessarily you want to be in, but you understand the people in the club.
Right.
And there's a connection there that goes very deep, because it's hard to describe what grief is like or even what helps sometimes. But at the same time, thank you, God, we've gotten through it through different things that and tools He's put in our life. And yeah, He's faithful to show up through music, through therapy, through all these different things. So thank you again. And thanks so much for joining us for Stories That Serve. I'm your host, Laura Husband, and we will see you next time. 3 episodes, 1 guest to kick off the premiere of Stories That Serve, the podcast. If you've enjoyed listening, I would love your support to finish the season. Click the link in the description to partner with us in bringing the rest of Season 1 to life.